So here's the cool story. And then you guys, do you have time for this? Because it's not long, but it's my favorite part of what's going on with everything.
Because I once said that I would never dance in public, but then like seeing other people doing it, I was like, oh, I kind of want to do that. That looks fun, and now I'm doing it, and it is fun.
Yeah. I feel like that could be me.
And now it is me.
I'm part of the K-pop society at UCL, and a big part of what we do is performing covers.
We follow the original artists quite specifically on like the dance, like the way that they do certain moves and things like that, because you kind of want to embody, like, especially if you're covering that member, you kind of want to embody like their presence and how they're doing it, and even with outfits, we'll usually go for something that they've done either on the stage or in like a music video. We're copying them and trying to embody their energy, but we're also still trying to be ourselves and like show our presence as well.
Look who it
Are you guys
is.
looking for rooms for audition? Yeah, they're all locked.
That's fine, I'll include
I'm
them.
so excited for the winter showcase. I feel like when you're a leader, it's like a piece of art. You know, like people will judge how good your piece of art is in a way. So I feel like each leader and each group has their own take on that certain cover. You know, it's like with any piece of art, really.
I don't enjoy just painting Elvis and then going, hey, I painted Elvis. I feel like there's something where I need to add my art to it. That's my process though, where it's like I just take everything and I don't really know how it affects me until it kind of pops up in my art.
There is no definition of personality rights within copyright, but they get brought in one way or another.
It's not a very good name. Patent is part of intellectual property, but that's for inventions. Copyright is for creative works. If the law says that the right survives death, then it will be a piece of property that passes under the will, or if there is no will, under the rules for intestacy. English law knows no such rights. There have been attempts to create these. Famous people register pictures of their faces as trademarks, or their names. Now, it was very clear, I was a barrister, that you couldn't register it. There was an attempt to register Elvis Presley. And I have the Hugh Laddie chair, and Hugh Laddie was a judge, a very close friend of mine. And he decided the case, and he thought it was a joke.
In this case, I really, like I said, I'll use the word, I adore the aura and the world that Elvis brings.
The idea that there should be an Elvis Presley trademark. Trademark tells you the indication of goods or services. And Elvis Presley was dead.
So at first I actually kind of thought it was a scam. The Elvis Estate suspended my online art store, and then a week later they suspended my PayPal, which is my online payment processor, because those are both based in the US. So those companies are both based in the US. So they were able to get a temporary restraining order from court, and then they just comply.
There is no great big movement to create personality rights. They're false endorsement cases, but they've always been live people. In English law, continues to run until you're dead. Then you can be defamed. There's nothing that survives death. And people do it in California. Well, that's showbiz for you. That anybody who wants to do a thing on a sort of world stage, and people want to do that much more now than they did, and all at the same time, if you can be stopped in 17 American states, that's going to kibosh you for the world.
And if they just suspended the one online art store, I'd be bummed, and I probably would have said something, but I would have got over it quickly. But then a week later, they suspended my PayPal and temporary restraining order, that's what it was called. And I'm like, oh my God, this is legitimate.
So there may be a statute which suggests you can sort of override the intellectual property right. I have in mind, particularly as far as Europe is concerned, the European Convention on Human Rights, which protects property and says everybody is entitled to property. But that can be overridden in some cases by the right of free speech. An example of a case not involving a personality but illustrating the problem. A few years back in Holland and in France, there were cases involving a painting of the war in Darfur. It was a stylized painting. Standing in the front was a little black boy holding a Louis Vuitton handbag. Very severe artistic comment. This stuff, like Louis Vuitton, is trash. What really matters is things like war.
Louis Vuitton had gone to the court in Paris without me.
In Holland, the judge used the Human Rights Convention.
They had a verdict that said for each day I would continue to share this drawing, I'd have to pay 15,000 euros fine.
In France, the courts wouldn't do that. I think it's a shame on Louis Vuitton that they ever took such action.
Counting from that day.
We all hope to have really global, international, digital proof laws. unfortunately, that is not the case.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a good one. You too. As a working artist, as someone who's trying to get work, but social media is a necessary evil. I have to put my work out there. I have to be sharing constantly. And in some ways, I do like it because it allows me to connect with people all over the world. That's awesome, and I love it. But at the same time, it also opens you up to like everybody criticizing you. There's not a whole lot of likeness mask makers out there. As far as I know, there's only like 5 like that are doing like kind of what I'm doing. My rule is that I won't sell my likeness masks without permission from the likeness holder. And that's because everybody has a right to their face. And that is a legal right, at least in America. I don't know how it is in other countries.
We live in like a meme culture now. So there's that Lisa Simpson with red eyes, like this meme of "Hi, Lisa Simpson," right? Like, so that's inspiration for me. And so you just have this iconic face that everyone recognizes. I live in Thailand. And even in Thailand, Elvis still has this force, and I'm subjected to that. This is kind of like a tie-in with what Banksy believes. So when you get these advertisements, they're just thrown in your face and you just have to consume them whether you want to or not. I'm not going that far with someone like Elvis. I adore Elvis. I grew up with Elvis, but he's just stuck in my brain. My dad would mimic Elvis and like try to like sing like Elvis. So like it's ingrained in me and the culture that I grew up with. I've done things that I think are kind of flattering. So I've painted certain rappers and certain celebrities in what I think is a flattering, try to make them cool style. And sometimes I'm really ruthless. I've had to ask myself, like, what if I ran into Angelina Jolie and she saw this painting and she thought it was really off-putting and she said, "Hey, this hurt me. Like, I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good." I've asked myself that, and it doesn't really stop me because I just let myself always go. I don't really have restrictions. I was just painting Jim Carrey, and I love Jim Carrey. I love him, but even if I make him look ridiculous or even slanderous, or I know that if I ran into Jim Carrey, I'd be like, "Dude, look at this." I would be proud to show him.
A few of my videos have gone viral, and they've seen a wider audience of people that are mostly confused. But there's some people online that they think that I'm being offensive, I think, by trying to replicate their favorite celebrity. And I do it because I like the shows. I like the characters. I like something about that person's face intrigues me. So it's meant to be very respectful. I think most people get that.
I'll wake up and I'll get a email, "Hey, sorry, this painting or this piece of art has been taken down." And that's happened to me a lot.
The new technologies make all this kind of thing much easier. That's really what's happened. And sometimes the whole of the history of some branches of intellectual property are the law catching up. The whole of the law of copyright came about basically because of the printing press. You don't need to stop people making lots of copies if they can't. IP rights follow technology.
Creators have a lot more tools at the moment when it comes to expressing themselves, and drawing the line between artistic freedom and the law is a really difficult one.
One of the terms that the law firm uses is damage the brand, right? That's kind of some of the things that they would claim. Like, I can see how that's like, if I'm Elvis's estate, I go, well, it doesn't do anything for me. Like, I don't get it. I don't know why you're putting Lisa Simpson on Elvis's face. It doesn't seem to be really fitting with our brand, and in fact, it kind of goes the other way. I can see that, so I'm not beyond that. I totally get that. But as far as I'm concerned, I was just inspired by Elvis, and then I'm inspired by meme culture, and then I mash everything together.
Sometimes the estates object. Sometimes they do it for money. But if these personality rights go on forever, I don't see how historians are going to be able to write books one day. They might want the image of this personality to be improved.
And I really feel like they could really cause problems probably for me if they wanted to. If they hear this interview or if they see my post, I don't know what they can do, but they could start suspending other things that I have. But it's like, okay, if that's what you want to do.
It might be an offensive parody. You can see maybe the grandchildren of this famous person want to stop that being used. On the other hand, we might say, well, that's history.
The only category that I think is okay to sculpt for and sell is public figures, in our case politicians. I could do that and legally sell that, that's okay, because that falls under parody.
There are cases about fictional people.
But I think especially if you're doing a character, then you're also running into IP issues.
It was well known the estate of Sherlock Holmes lost quite a few cases. People write follow-up books. As a matter of history, it doesn't seem to have done any harm that people have done that at all.
It's a real mixed bag. I think, again, with social media, we as humanity have this very parasocial relationship with celebrities. When I'm sculpting a mask, I'm trying to keep it to the character that person played. And I try really hard to respect that boundary. When I wear it at my conventions, people generally love it. And a lot of times they don't realize it's a mask. They'll be talking to the person, and then eventually I kind of see them giving me this look that maybe they've talked to me long enough that they realize that something's a little bit off. And then I'll go, oh, it's a mask, which opens up a whole nother can of worms. But most people, they're just excited to see their favorite, just like any cosplay interaction. You're excited to see your favorite character brought to life.
I personally think there's a lot of difficulty in creating this idea of a right. I think we should just be allowed to do things anyway. There's no good reason for creating it. The reason for creating it, largely, is money. If you create a right, you can license it. And so more money for famous people is what this is about. I don't see why they need it.
And now that I've been delaying it and conversing with them back and forth, I'm going to say this, but they're basically, okay, what do you have in your pockets? We'll just take that. Now it's like, okay, you don't have 3,000. What do you have? This is Elvis's estate. Like Elvis, like this is what they're doing, like to a guy who posted a painting for sale.
So we will always have the right holders, the children and those that bear the rights regardless. Their voice will be heard. But the public is not being represented and heard at these discussions.
So Chris Farley was like a god in our household. We would watch his movies over and over and over again as kids, me and my sister and my brother. He's definitely helped raise me. And I painted him and I put him on the merch. And then I get a notification and they said, hey, we got to review this. Again, that kind of response is normal. Why? Because it's Chris Farley using Chris Farley's name. So they said, actually, we would like to consider it for the fan art program. And what they did was someone went ahead and approved that art personally and said, okay, you can let this art be on all the merchandise. So of course they're going to make a cut. What a difference of like different ways to approach fan art. I don't even know what else you want me to call this stuff.
I think, again, overall, most people just get excited about it. They're seeing the favorite character. Obviously, they require a lot of work. These take me months to make. So I wouldn't do it if I wasn't a fan. So I think most people understand that effort that goes into it. I swear to God, I have like a whole list of people that I want to sculpt that I'm never going to get to. Usually it just kind of depends on what intrigues me in the moment.
You should be able to paint somebody and be inspired by someone's art. But then it's super complicated because if you took music, hey, I'm just inspired by Elvis, I'm just using his songs. Again, the nuance and the gray area is not beyond me, but where I think the law firm should then take a beat and understand where that comes into play.
I mean, it's weird enough, I think, to see your face on somebody else. I'm sure for actors, I'm sure that's very uncomfortable for them on some level. So I want to respect that. I try not to read anything personal about them. I don't want to dive deep into this person's personal life. That's their private life and they deserve that privacy.
I don't feel like I have ownership in any regard of Elvis at all. I just felt inspired. I painted him again a couple times after that with more satire in mind, just enjoying the ride a little bit. I really hope it doesn't escalate and I won't really push it much. I think if they continue to do more, I don't really have anything to lose. That I will start being like more aggressive. I think they really missed the mark and I think they didn't take a beat.
Maybe parody, and I don't see why they should be free from being parodied.
At least to me, it feels like whatever type of laws we're discussing, we're not listening to the public. We're not listening so much to what you and me, and not necessarily as creators, but as users, as consumers of these works, actually have to say.
I got a lot of comments of that. They're like, oh, that's just greed. Because it seems disproportionate. Even if you thought I shouldn't be painting that, there's levels. And if someone took my art and put it on t-shirts and was making $10,000 a month on it, I'd be like, hey, where's my cut? Of course I would. But then here's the key point. I don't expect Elvis's estate to know who's doing what. I do expect the law firm that's suing me to know that. But to then shake me down, suspend my account so I can't earn money. And then they use the word like whatever you think is reasonable as a counter to $3,000. That's not cool. One of the biggest icons of all time on this planet to be suing me for a painting is so crazy. It's ridiculous. And I don't even want to speculate. Like I hear, oh, they need money, and just the whole premise is just. That's why. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell people this story.
K-pop is for the people who consume it as much as it is for the people who create it.
Everyone okay with letting people in?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is part of that.
Okay, this was
It's basically how we show our love and how we use this medium to communicate this part of ourselves to others. You learn dance by learning other people's dances or performances. You learn everything by using other people's work.
We hope you enjoy.
It's essential to how we communicate. We don't just exist in a vacuum.
And of course, the show wouldn't be possible without.
Because I think it's kind of funny. I couldn't pay Elvis's estate to sue me. So what a story where I get to go, Elvis is suing me. Like literally, he's back from the grave and he's suing me. I think I love it. Like I think it's such a great story, and I feel in a weird way seen